Mm, Louis can't be trusted. Hey, what's up and hello? This is the Chris Nicole giving you my views on life, love, and the world of entertainment through my eyes. And this is my review on Snowfall, Season 6, Episode 8, Ballad of the Bear. Okay? We only have two more episodes, y'all, so this is gonna be interesting. This is my favorite show, so I have a feeling I'm gonna cry on the last episode. This was an amazing, amazing cast, amazing writing. So let's get into it. So we start off this episode with 6 in the morning, police at my door, an iced tea classic. Now I know for you younger people, the younger generation, you guys know Ice-T as an old actor on Law and Order. But for West Coast babies, especially West Coast babies who were around in the 80s, Ice-T is a West Coast legend. He is a rap legend. So hearing that song just brought back so many memories for me. So Gustavo is at the Saint house. And if you notice, we've seen the same house from inside, but as he's walking in, we notice that they now have bars on the windows. And I remember that time when everyone started getting bars on their windows. I myself, my family house had bars on the windows because around that time when the crack epidemic hit hard, people had to start putting bars on their windows so people couldn't break in and come into their, to their homes. So that definitely, I love that they did that because that just kind of represented the times in LA at that time and probably other cities too, where people had to protect their homes because crackheads was out there going crazy trying to steal stuff to get that hit. So while Gustavo is walking in the backyard, we see Scully telling Leon to let it go and that he forgives him for killing his daughter. And that was big of Scully. I don't know if everyone remembers Scully in season 3, but we met Scully as a Sherm PCP head who was beating people halfway to death in a bathroom, wiping blood off of his face while he was dancing to music. Okay, Scully was crazy. So the fact that he has grown so much and is willing to forgive Leon for killing his daughter, major growth when it comes to Scully. So next we see Franklin and Gustavo discussing the next steps, and Gustavo inquires about Franklin's plane, and he's like, "Do you still have your plane?" So that shows even more that he plans to run away, and definitely his family is already on their plan to leave the country, but he's trying to get out of there. So next we see Louis have a panic attack in the bathroom, and she gives a long, evil, blank kind of stare at herself in the mirror. And I don't know if this was about her being prepared or trying to prepare herself on what she's about to do with Franklin or to Franklin. But I need Louis to stop blaming Franklin for everything and to look at herself. Let's break things down here. One, she put the hit out on Kane. Okay, that's one, and chose a crackhead cop to try to kill him. Uh, Two, she decided to separate from Franklin, and instead of getting her own connect, she stayed with Teddy, which was stupid because Louie is older. She's around Jerome's age. So that tells me she was there around the Panther era. And we clearly see during the funeral that a lot of Panthers was at the funeral. Those men that had the black leather jackets with the hat, that's representing the Panthers, okay? So she already knows how the government operates. She has to know. So why would you separate yourself from Franklin just to reconnect with the government guy who had you in his back pocket? If you would have separated, you should have separated completely and went with the Colombians. But Either way, Louie is just truly trying to blame Franklin and anybody else except herself. She truly needs to look at herself in the mirror. But anywho, let's move forward. So next we have Franklin in a flashback looking at the house that Mel and Andre used to stay in. And my sensitive ass almost choked up because it brought back memories of the first season and when the show first began. And the fact that I'm just like, I can't believe this show is ending. Like, I feel like this show definitely had at least 8 seasons. I don't know why they're ending it so soon, but it definitely brought back memories. And Franklin is thinking about the past, and he's having that flashback moment where he's telling Mel that he understands that he needs to protect the people he loves and protect his family. And lo and behold, Louie comes and takes him out of his little flashback moment and pretty much says that she will help him, but to be clear, it's about her getting under Teddy's thumb, not about helping him, but more so of separating herself from Teddy. And I'm confused because her and Teddy didn't have any problems. So I don't know if she's just telling Franklin this, but it's not like she blames Teddy for Jerome's death. So I'm confused. But again, I don't know if I trust Louie. Like I said, she may be trying to kill two birds with one stone. And she wants to appear that it's all about Teddy, but in reality, she's trying to get Franklin too. I don't know, but I don't trust her because that whole little scene right there, I was just like, I don't know if this is really all about Teddy at this point. So we see Franklin with his backpack from season 1 again. I love that they're bringing us back to everything from the beginning. So Franklin gives Gus the backpack of money and passports, and Gustavo, which I call him Gus for short, Gustavo, inquires about, does Louis know that the DEA has pictures of her? And Franklin says no because she'll run, and I can't have that. So once again, while we love Franklin, we love our main character, we see that his money and what he wants is more important. But he claims he will get her out, but I don't know. So that's the thing. Louis and Franklin are so much alike in that mindset of it's going to be about me first before I care about anyone else. Even though he saved her, and I think he really saved her because of course he still cares about her, but in the back of his mind he also felt like she can possibly help me get my money. But with that, next we see Teddy talking to his former boss slash colleague about him coming back to the agency. His boss says, if you give us the money first, which is always a bad sign, give me the money first. He says, if you give us the money first, then you can get your badge back, your blue badge back, and we'll commit. Teddy knows it's BS. We know it's BS. He's never getting back with the agency. And I don't even know why he's begging to get back with the agency because I remember, again, the first season, he actually said to the former boss who was the head of this operation that he really wanted to be a part of this operation. And if anything goes bad, they can just pretty much disown him. So they've disowned you now. So at this point, what are you begging for? You already knew what was going to happen. And you even said that you would be willing to be disowned to pretty much follow this mission. So I don't get it. But anywho, so Gus is with the DEA and they want to have a DEA agent go with Gustavo for the drop. So Tony, the head DEA agent, who we've seen since practically the beginning, he says to Gus that he doesn't trust him. He doesn't trust Gustavo because Gustavo hasn't asked any questions about his deal, about any legal paperwork to promise and make sure that he will get his deal. He hasn't done any of that. So, Tony's like, I don't trust you. And I don't blame him. I don't blame Tony because it does make sense. Why haven't you made sure everything, all of your paperwork was done and you're guaranteed to get out of this situation? But Tony, you waited all this time to finally come to that realization that something's not right. You've been using him all of this time. Now you're saying you don't trust him? Okay. So Louis is on the phone with Teddy, setting him up, and Franklin and Gustavo have to rely on each other to make sure this works. So, of course, when they have that moment, you already know something is not going to go as planned. Gustavo gives a heartfelt goodbye to his family. And of course, that was another moment where I was choking up. He gives his wrestling mask, because his wrestling name was Oso. He gives his wrestling mask to the kids as a way for them to make sure they remember him. And because of that, my gut is telling me that Gustavo is not going to make it out alive. I hope he does, but because the reason why I hope he does, because Gustavo, in my opinion, out of all of the characters, has been the most consistent since the beginning. Um, he's always been about family and loyalty. So I would hate for something to happen to him, because he's the one who truly just remains Gustavo, just with a pure heart and about family and loyalty and protecting that family and whoever is loyal to him. So when he leaves the family, we see that Ruben is following his every move. Next scene, we have Franklin telling his woman, which I believe, if I think it's Veronique. I don't know how to pronounce her name, child. Veronique. Um, he tells her to leave the country with his mother if things do not work out. And while I really want to believe that this woman, because Franklin has definitely had his history with shady ass women, but I really want to believe this woman really is his ride or die and is with him until the end. But something in her look when they hugged, I still don't trust her. I really don't. I hope I'm wrong, but I still don't trust her. So Teddy's talking to his woman, and he's telling her that they need to figure out a plan to leave. And while he's paranoid as hell with every move she and every other person makes, he trusts her enough to want to marry her. Which is interesting, because again, one thing that Teddy and Franklin have in common is the shady women that kind of have their own motives. So I don't know if I trust Teddy's woman either. So this is quite interesting. Like, I don't trust Veronique, and I don't trust Teddy's woman. I don't know how to pronounce her name either, but Teddy's woman, I don't trust her either. So Gustavo is meeting with the Colombians, and he decides to tell them that she is DEA. And her dumb ass looks so panicked and scared with what he said that she goes back to Tony and tells him something isn't right with Gustavo. So they start to investigate and check in on his family. And to a certain extent, she's right, because Gustavo has always been someone who really didn't talk much. He was very stoic. He was a man of few words. Like, he definitely, everything was just serious for him. So for him to just randomly say that, I think just really does show that he is becoming a little bit paranoid. Not a little bit, but definitely paranoid. So he's just being a little reckless at this point, because Gustavo in previous seasons would have not said anything like that. So with that, Franklin, Louis, Scully, and Veronique meet. And the first plan is to have Franklin look like he took a serious beating. And Louis Louis goes in. She goes ham on Franklin. And Franklin pretty much is just like, egging it on, like, come on, is that all you got? Is that all you got? She's just taking out all of her frustrations on Franklin. And Veronique can't take it. She goes back in the car because she can't take her man just, getting beat down like that. And at the end of that scene, Veronique is crying and staring at Franklin, and Franklin is staring at her. And again, when they do those slow moments of people staring at each other, again, to me, it's a sign that maybe this is going to be the last time they see each other, at least in person. But I don't know. But that's the vibe that I got when I saw that last part of the scene. So next scene, we see the DEA arresting Gus because they realize that he's going to run, which pretty much throws a wrench in Franklin's plan. So next, after that, we see Louis and Scully drop off Franklin, and Teddy, being the mind fuck that he is, waits until it gets dark to pull up on Franklin. So at this point, we see that Franklin is scared. And I don't know if he is pretending to be scared, thinking Gustavo will show up, or he realizes once Teddy is there that things are not going as planned. So I don't know if he's faking it at this point or he really is scared. But either way, one of the first things that Teddy says is, "What did you say about my son?" Or "What's that thing you said you were going to do to my son?" He says something like that. And let's keep it real, for people who have been Snowfall watchers since season one, Teddy don't give a damn about his son. He has never cared about that son. The only time he would see the son is if the ex-wife brought him to LA to see Teddy. Other than that, he does not care. He doesn't even check in on that child. Teddy is straight up like his own father. His own father didn't give a shit about him. Teddy don't give a shit about that, about his own son. I would say more than anything, it's just this whole scene is about that. Teddy finally realizes that he has lost control. He no longer controls Franklin. That's what that scene was about. How dare you cross me, Franklin? Even though Teddy, Teddy has also crossed Franklin. But again, that's what that scene is about. So Franklin begs and tries to give up the KGB, but Teddy knocks him out and pretty much is over it at that point. So next we see Vernie going into labor, and I'm assuming it's prematurely. Let's hope the baby and her survive, but I don't think that she was due at that time. So we shall see. Now, the next scene we see that Ruben comes to Gustavo's rescue and pretty much gets him out of the car and tells him that he's going to continue his mission that he has with Franklin in regards to Teddy. Now, one thing that I find kind of funny is that Tony has been trying to get his man for seasons. He's been trying to get Lucia. He's been trying to get Gustavo. He's been trying to get the government agencies, trying to get Teddy. And every time he feels like he's close, something happens. And here we go again, something happens. Now, I don't know if they are unalive or they're just badly injured, but either way, Gustavo is gone. So we will see what happened to those DEA agents in the next episode, hopefully. So now this scene was triggering for me. Baby, let me tell you, I thought about my ancestors in this scene. Teddy had Franklin hanging, like strange fruit hanging. Um, then this piece of shit says, "I'm sorry for having you like this, having you hanging like this," because he claims that he can't turn his back on Franklin since Gustavo isn't there. You are a trained agent, my dude. You couldn't find anything other, like anything else to kind of detain him besides that. You over there stirring up chemicals and stuff. You are like a mastermind, and that's the only thing you can think of. Kiss my ass. Teddy needs to go. Teddy needs to go. After that scene, I need Teddy to be tortured. Because really, nothing has really ever happened to Teddy. Teddy needs to go. So, with that being said, Gustavo and Ruben come in, and literally, Ruben tells Teddy, "Put the syringe down, put your gun down," and Gustavo handcuffs Teddy to a machine. And in that process, Teddy tells Gustavo, "I have a weapon on me," pretty much telling him where he can find a weapon so he can, do what he needs to do. And Ruben feels that something's not right. And he's like, "What do you think? I'm a dumbass?" Next thing you know, Gustavo just starts whooping his ass. Just starts whooping his ass and pretty much knocks him out. And in the process, though, of them fighting, the barrel that Teddy had Franklin, like, his feet on, so pretty much he was had him on a barrel while he was hanging. So he can't really balance himself, and the more he's trying to balance himself, the more he's kind of choking himself. So while Gustavo and Ruben are fighting, the barrel under Franklin is completely knocked down. So at this point, Franklin is dying. He's choking, he's losing his breath. And after Gustavo knocks out Ruben, he helps Franklin. And Teddy is like, "What are you doing, Gustavo? What are you doing? Franklin is a traitor. His families are traitors." All of this BS. But I just wish they knew that he was no longer CIA, because if they knew that he wasn't CIA, oh my gosh, it would be freaking amazing what they would do to this man. But anywho, with that being said, the last scene was rewarding to me because Franklin and Gustavo was looking at Teddy like he was a meal, okay? Like they were straight about to eat and destroy him. And Teddy's face was just like, what the hell is about to go down? So that part was rewarding. But with that being said, I really hope Franklin can get out of this. We know typically how this story goes, but I really hope he can make it out of this. Now, he may make it out all by himself and be alone, but I do want him to make it out of this. Um, and I need to know, are they going to bring back Peaches? Because they mentioned him again in the beginning of this season. So why keep mentioning him if we're never going to see him? And he didn't come to the funeral. So where the hell is Peaches? So yeah, those are a couple of thoughts that I have in regards to what's going to happen in these last two episodes. Like, this is crazy. My favorite show, I'm sad is going to end. However, there is going to be a spinoff. They announced it that Wanda's character, Gail being the actress, will actually be the star of the spinoff. So I'm kind of excited to see that, and hopefully it'll be just as good, if not better, than Snowfall. So with that being said, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.